we started a live video simulcast.
Yeah, well, there
almost
it is.
Simulcast.
We're running into technical difficulties, but that's
hello,
okay.
everyone. I apologize for being a few minutes late. As Sandy said, there's technical difficulties, but welcome to the Facebook Live thing that we do.
Yes. Hello.
Reboot.
Hello. Hello. I'm still having some technical difficulties, but it's okay. It's going to bother me. It's going to bother me just a little bit, but I think we're okay.
If the fact that your keyboard is still showing up is the only thing that bothers you, or the worst thing that bothers you today, you've had a good day.
You know what? Things could be worse.
That's right.
Things could be worse.
So hello, everyone. I am Jamie Vasey, mortgage Jedi and mortgage broker for Guelph, KW, and most of Ontario.
That is you.
That is
I'm Sandy Hare with the Hare Real Estate Collective at Remax Real Estate Center on Gordon.
Wait.
Guelph. That's new.
Where are you?
Hi. So I have moved my business, and I have a business partner. My teammate is Rebecca Walker, now with Remax.
Facebook high five.
High fives, Rebecca. Rebecca Walker and I have put together a little team, and we came over here to Remax on Gordon to start out our little dream thing that we had and try it out.
Awesome.
Guelph is.
That's fantastic. That's really exciting news, actually.
It is exciting.
I'm feigning excitement because I've known about it for, well, it's been since August.
Beginning of August. So it's 1 month.
Been a month.
Yeah.
So it's exciting news.
It's exciting.
It is.
We are extremely excited. We are. Again, it's the Hare Real Estate Collective. Sounds like it's just a Sandy Hare thing, but I promise you it's not. It's a Rebecca Walker Sandy Hare thing. It's just Becky Walker is the best support person a business girl could ever ask for. And I love her. And we're just trying it out here at Remax, and we're going to see how it rolls.
Yeah.
So far, so good. Everybody seems to be lovely. And
you have an office.
I have an office. Look at me, big girl pants on today and every day. It's still hard to get used to, but I do still keep it real. Like I watched a zombie movie in here today while I was working, because I have a TV in here. So I just wanted to keep it real.
Yes.
Because that's who I am, and that's never good.
And it's only 55 more sleeps to Halloween.
That's right. I know.
Which in both our houses is the single biggest holiday of the year. And
for me, it's always been huge. I used to run the Guelph Zombie Walk here in town. I love everything about Halloween. It is Halloween 365. And it's all day, every day at my house. And I am actually, a little smidgen, looking to take some fun times during Halloween, some big things to come with that. It's new, but you will know more definitely by our next broadcast. For sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's exciting.
I feel like I've been doing a zombie walk for a few weeks now.
It's sluggish, right?
Like I've been
exhausted,
goodness. But that's a me combined with a business, combined with personal, combined with everything. Awesome. My favorite time of year thing.
I'm telling you, I don't know what it is coming back from the summer holidays. Like we rented a cottage, we went up there, Airbnb for renting cottages, good times. And I just feel like since getting back, maybe it's like the adjustment and things, but I feel like a little sluggish getting back, but I'm getting my bearings.
I think a lot of people get that this time of year, especially with this week getting into the routine of being back in school, right? So suddenly it's like, it's not just getting yourself up in the morning, but getting other people up in the morning if you have kids, and getting them off and ready, and all that entails. And you start to expend more energy by 9 a.m. than you were used to doing in the summer. So I think there's a little bit of dragging feet going on. Yeah. For a lot of people. We should probably talk about the beverages. Yeah, so we'll move on. So here's actually one thing. So Jamie brought up a really good point that we don't want people we're going to be changing the name. Yes.
We're going to be changing the name, so we don't want it to sound like we're complaining, because I don't think we complain during this. It's more informative. No. So we haven't quite figured that out yet. If anybody has any ideas, we'd be open to having ideas thrown at us. Yeah, the wine about real estate and brewed about mortgages was kind of a fun pun for us with the wine and the beer. It's a dad joke. But Sandy has been drinking nothing but beer for the last 10. So the wine's gone out the window. But it's also, we're not really whining or brooding about anything, because things have been great in the industry. They've been great for us. And we're not professionally and personally. I don't think you and I are complainers. I don't think that's really. Our thing. It's not. Yeah, no, not really. So we're gonna have to come up with a different name. So right now it's that Facebook Live thing we do. But hopefully we can,
please suggest ideas because
we'll come up with
anything that you have
something,
would
sure.
be good.
Yeah, and suggestions are good. So, but not the one thing that hasn't changed is that we have brought beers. There are,
Mine's not local. Mine is as far from local as you can get this time, but it was based on time of year. So it's an Innocent Gun.
Yeah, there it is.
Which is in the UK. And it's a rum barrel-aged red beer. It's called the Blood Red Sky. And that is because of the time of year. This is by far my favorite time of year. So the fall weather, the cooling, the changing of the leaves, getting into Halloween, but it's also the winding down of the baseball season for us. So we have our championship for Guelph Men's Slow Pitch Championships are this Sunday. So congratulations to the teams that qualified. Congratulations to all the players in the Guelph Men's Slow Pitch League this year for another wonderful season. And thank you to all our sponsors, including Ken Beacons.
Yeah.
So
Ken Beacons personal trainer.
The team that he was the sponsor on had a really strong run in the playoffs. Unfortunately, somebody's Thursday night team was responsible for knocking them out.
Jamie, I thought we were friends.
So it's great time of year, right? We have baseball winding down, and that's always for me a great thing. And
I like it because back to the routine. I've been a parent my whole adult life, and I really enjoy when the kids get back at it like this, especially having small kids still. I really like that back to routine. And our girls do gymnastics, so we're back at gymnastics, maybe competitive gymnastics this year. Very fancy. My daughter is very strong. It's unbelievable how strong she is, and we're looking to possibly look towards that life.
And what did you bring as a beverage?
I brought so for me, I'm in love. I love this beer. Octopus Wants to Fight, and this is a local-ish. It's Toronto, so I salute it every time I drive by it. That's when I'm going into Toronto because this. My favorite IPAs are Lady Friend. Lady Friend is my very most favorite beer. I would say Upside and this run next to each other. This one is delicious, and I love the little boxy octopus.
I had a Lady Friend last night after our baseball game.
So good.
The Fat Duck.
So good. So foggy. But this one is delicious, and I think that I picked this one because I love it, but I think also because I think it's a bit of I think it's been a bit of a battle-y year. So if we think about I think it's been a bit of a battle-y year. Is it buyer market? Is it it's like buyer market, and this is the moment where buyers market and sellers market met in the ring and started duking it out. I think this is the year. This has been the year.
As a side note, I salute Great Lakes Brewery when I go into Toronto because they have my favorite winter beer. They have the Harry Potter series.
Oh, right.
So they have Harry Potter and the vanilla, bourbon soaked vanilla bean, and Harry Potter and the cherry hoarder. And just being a Harry Potter fan, plus being great beers, so awesome. All right, so let's get down to business. I want to talk quickly about two kind of little things. Not so little, but time-sensitive things. Yeah. So one, for those who have watched for a little while, you heard me mention at one point in time about when you're going online and you're seeing articles or you're seeing tweets or you're seeing posts, consider the value of what the content is.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Reader beware.
And it's not just that; it's the value of the content. And so here's an example. I had somebody message me today because on the social media, for people who follow me, you saw that I put out the notification about our Facebook Live tonight. What I did not mention at all today was the Bank of Canada rate announcement. And the reason I didn't was because nothing happened. Bank of Canada held the rate the same. But I saw no less than 7 people putting out things about Bank of Canada holds rate steady. That's not news. That's the opposite of news. It's non-news. It's nothing happened. Then the articles proceed to talk about why each individual supposes that happened. And that's all speculation. Best guessing scenarios. So the fact is, no, rate stayed the same. Doesn't change or impact anything. But that's not news worth necessarily putting out there. That's not value-added services, in my opinion. No. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit because it was asked of me, how come I'm not mentioning the Bank of Canada rate non-change? The one thing that did come out, and it was something that we've talked about gradually throughout the year, is that the CMHC shared equity mortgage first-time home buyers incentive has come into effect now.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So you can now start applying for it. And there were a lot of articles about that because they officially started taking applications as of the September 2nd. So there was a lot of articles about it. But nothing in those articles was new, except for how you go about applying for it. And really, it's done from lender to CMHC, much like getting your insurance. So outside of that, yes, the program is in effect, but we knew that. We knew the date it was taking effect. It's too early to say anything about pluses or minuses or values or what impact it's going to have on the market. I maintain that I believe it's just going to drive prices up because people are still qualifying. Like some people will qualify for a bit more, and some people will now be able to qualify where they couldn't before. But they're still all clamoring for the same properties.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So
it's not going to change it's actually going to increase the amount of people clamoring and increase the values of properties. So that's what's going to happen. I think it's what we've seen happening when previous similar things came about. So I anticipate that that's what we'll see, but we'll have to wait and see. I think personally that it's going to put more, I guess it's just because I come from Guelph. I'm in Guelph and I work from Guelph, so a lot of my business is here. That all I see is just another way to add more buyers to the market, and that's just gonna help that 400 market disappear because you can only go up to a certain amount, right, for that application. Like I think you can't apply for more over than 500, or is it 400?
Yeah, no, it's you can't go over, and it's also the value is tied to a certain amount times your income, and the maximum income you're allowed to have is $120,000 a year and stuff like that. So, so in this market, it's not really a huge. Or in this market, it's a factor. In like the GTA market, it's not so much. And here's where the weird thing is, because they gave more of an incentive for people buying new properties than resale properties. It really feels like the incentive was meant to help the builders.
Yes.
Because construction hasn't stopped, and it's all condos. Not all, but majority of the builds right now are condos.
Well, in that price point.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, basically what we're doing is we're saying we're going to help people if you want to buy a certain type of property more than people who don't want that. So really what it's doing is it's helping the, I heard an interesting take on it, and I'll share it because I thought there might be something here. Condo sales, took a little bit of a hit when they brought in the foreign investors taxes and things like that, right? Especially in the Toronto and Vancouver markets, not so much here. So when we had people from overseas investing in condos in these major urban centers and renting them out or Airbnb-ing them or things of that nature, and now they can't do it in the same way that they used to be able to. So now there's created a bit more of a demand for all of these condos that are being built. And how do we fill that demand? Well, we make it easier for first-time buyers to get into those condos. And that's kind of what it feels like is happening here.
Right.
So we'll see. It's a plus. If it's a tool that will work to your advantage, I will certainly recommend it. But I will make sure to educate you on all the facets.
My caution, because like when I'm helping people shop for a home, I'm thinking about their resale. Even if they're not thinking about their resale, I feel a responsibility to think about their resale. So I'm constantly thinking, if you had to sell this house in 3 years, what would have to happen, and with and we can't predict the market. Like we can't predict. It could all of a sudden like just fall apart. It could all of a sudden boom. Like I don't know that for sure, but I like to, if we take a steady prediction of the take a steady view of a prediction of like past behaviors, future behavior kind of thing, then we could say, okay, incrementally you're looking at 5 to 8. whatever. I worry about the payback and how that affects your purchasing power moving on to the next home.
Okay.
And how it affects, like, government things come in and then they go, what's the escape clause on that? Like, so let's say you sign it. This government says this is something that we're doing, whatever. And then the next government says, no, we're not doing that. Like,
we've all seen the political ads already starting for the next election.
Right. So what happens then? Do you still owe it? Is it a different interest rate? Like, what? Is it a break of contract? Like, because now you're with another business? Like, I don't know. Like, so when company like Rogers buys something like Fido, like.
So I can answer a bit of that. So
I'm just going to go off the rails here about it, but I get super nervous when I hear these sorts of things. I don't ever look at it as face value.
Right. So it is between the CMHC and the buyer. So the CMHC is going to survive and exist no matter which party is in power.
Good.
So there's that. Second is, for assuming about a 5% increase in value when I ran the numbers, which is reasonable. Mm-hmm. Anybody who's only hanging on to their house for 5 years or less, there's actually a financial advantage to using the program, because it takes you from having 5% down to 10% down, mm-hmm. which lowers the amount of CMHC premiums that you have to pay. So your mortgage insurance premiums get lowered to the point of where that makes the difference. Okay. Now, to your point at resale time, that's, I said, okay, so at resale time, you now have to pay this amount back, which means you have less of a down payment for that next property than you thought you would have. Mm-hmm. But in actuality, that's not entirely true, because if you only put the 5% down, mm-hmm. your equity built up in your house is the same as if you take that extra 5% and have to pay it back. There's really not a marginal difference between what you've built up equity-wise there.
Was it 5% on the purchase price or 5% on the?
Well, even at 5% on the even at 5% of the sale price, mm-hmm. right? You're talking about something where if you had only put the 5% down, the mortgage balance is here, and so the amount of equity you build as you pay that down, that carries over. But now, if your mortgage balance is here, mm-hmm. and you're paying that down, but then you have to pay it back up, you're basically carrying over the same amount of equity. Okay. The other thing is, with portability of mortgages, mm-hmm. For people who move, if we're able to port their mortgage for them, then that helps, right? Okay. You still have to pay it back, but the portability thing helps. Okay. So,
well, I mean, like, that's just the questions I have. I get mm-hmm. nervous, like I like people to, especially because coming from a rental situation and then being able to buy my first home, like I'm really happy that I had done that, and I'm paying as much as I would have in rent, actually less now, with the rent increase. I'm getting a rental in town. We're going to talk about that in a minute. It's ridiculous. That's one thing I want to talk about later, but I'm sensitive to it, I guess. I just really want people to I don't like what other people, like, owning your own home. Maybe I'm old school about it, but like, that's yours, like, I hate when it's like,
I hear that,
like, oh, capital gains and like all that, like all these extra taxes. Like, I've heard of people that have been, sorry, I'm still kind of,
oh, hey, people said hi.
Hello. But I get a little nervous when people start to, governing bodies start to come in and start chipping away at people's equities, because I don't know. I look at my house as like, this was my savings a little bit, it's my investing in myself, and I look at it kind of old school like that, I guess.
So do you want to hear my mortgage Jedi back pocket plan?
Well, this is why we're here.
When the opportunity arises.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Very few lenders, and I do work with some who I happen to absolutely love because of their rates and customer service and mm-hmm. all the extra things that they offer. One lender in particular that I work with, and there are a few others out there, have assumable mortgages. What an assumable mortgage means is, if you get a mortgage on your house, mm-hmm. the person who buys your house can assume your mortgage.
Yeah.
Okay, not many lenders do that anymore.
Okay.
All right. Here's where using that shared equity program and that assumable mortgage can couple into making your house more appealing when you resell it.
Okay.
So somebody assumes your mortgage, you still have to pay that back. But if you say to them, we'll let you assume our mortgage that is already paid down to this, but the purchase price that you're purchasing it for compensates us for this shared equity mortgage.
Okay.
Right?
So it kind of puts the power back into their hands a little bit.
It basically helps more buyers qualify for your house.
Yeah. Wow, we're going to go back to that then, eh?
But
I'm going to have to sharpen up on my calculator.
Well, this is a thing. Like, so now if you're listing a place, that gives you an extra selling feature. You know, if you're trying to be competitive, to be able to say this house comes with an assumable mortgage, that might make it appealing to somebody who's shopping between your place, who's looking at putting offers between your place and someone else's place.
No, it's true.
And they're like, well, wait, if this has an assumable mortgage at a better rate than what I can get just by going like that, and I only have to blend the difference,
no, I kind of like that.
Maybe I'll be willing to put in a little bit extra in an offer on that property. So
or
that's where so again, I've already peeled the onion back 15 layers.
Yeah, this is why I leave the numbers up to you, Jamie Vasey. This is why we do.
So these are the things that you want your professionals to be looking at for you, because they're not stuff that you could possibly. I mean, if you know it, great. Then you're as much of a mortgage geek as I am, and you spend a lot of free time reading
looking at numbers.
Yeah. But these are the types of things you want your professionals to be able to have knowledge of and say, hey, this is something. So you know, if you're talking about comparing different lenders, well, okay, if this one has an assumable mortgage, you know, that holds a lot of value over some other lenders. You know, if they allow your mortgage to be ported, assumed, have good prepayment plans and a competitive interest rate, like you're gold with that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, I'm here for it. I just want people to have all the options that they can, you know, like, and I like that you're thinking about it abstractly, because that's why we work with you, Jamie Vasey.
That's why we work.
But yeah, that's great. No, I'm glad I'm glad to hear that there are incentives. I just don't think, I don't know. I just think it's already like, I guess you're right. Like, it is more beneficial of the builders, because there are some builders, there are some places that aren't sold, and there's been a slowdown in that way. Like, I've noticed. I just had a conversation with a friend about it today that bought a new build like a year ago, and the other ones aren't selling as well. And it's not that the build is any poor. It's not poor. It's not. They're actually really nice. You know, it's just there seems to be a bit of a.
It's funny because.
Lull.
I really do believe, and the mindset that you talk about I have a little. You feel like you have a bit of distrust about the program, right? Because
I get nervous.
Yeah,
I get nervous.
So, and I really do think that's generational.
Yeah,
and it's funny because if you look at it, like we hear all the time about like people our grandparents' age or what have you, who kept all their money in a mattress under the bed because they didn't trust the banks, they didn't trust the systems, right? And then you have our parents' generation who is even more wary and even, you know, like, right? So
you want people to see it.
Yeah, no. So to some degree, like we're, you know, it's like we have a level of our generation has a level of distrust. But I think as you go down, things like this, it's just like, you know, like our parents don't feel comfortable doing online shopping because they're entering their credit card numbers and stuff like that, right? Yeah. And as you go down and generations are more and more exposed to the checks and balances that are in place, then it becomes less of an issue, I think. So, like, I mean, it's really funny when you think about it in that perspective.
I guess so.
And it's also that there's so much more information.
You're in a roundabout way calling me an old lady. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm older than you.
It's fine. We're friends. It's fine.
Older than you. I wasn't calling you old.
No, it's fine. No,
insinuating you're crusty. But that's different.
No, that's true too. But no, I am with you. like people to purchase and have it be for them. You know, like, so I think Ken pointed out to me that part of our job is questioning things. So that's hard on relationships.
Absolutely.
Part of my job is to be like, oh, you said that, eh? Let me check the facts. I'll get back to you. You know, like it's a research job, right? So I need to see it in action as well. I need to see people. But that's not going to be for another 5 years. You know, we won't know until in 3 to 5 years when people start using this program, getting approved for it, and then going to sell their home until we can learn the lumps as realtors. So now as realtors, what do we have to put in as clauses or conditions? This house is not subject to, and like, blah, 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 blah. Or this, the seller confirms that they are able to close, like, you know, like wording like that, because maybe they haven't taken into account that they have to pay this money back when they go to sell and maybe go rent up in the Yukon or buy up in the Yukon or something, you know, like, because that's happened a couple times this year to me. What's up with the Yukon? What's up, Yukon? Like, anybody? Like, there's a ton of people.
Tiny houses and lots of nature, and you're in Guelph. So yeah, I can see the appeal. Like, we get people in Guelph.
I'm still not with you.
There's a huge group of people in Guelph who are very connected to nature.
Oh no, I 100%. I've lived here my whole life.
So
I understand that.
So I can see the appeal of that. Yeah. I can, not for me personally, but I can certainly see where it is.
No, I get it, but it just seemed to be a thing this year. Like this year was like Yukon.
So I'm gonna put a tag on and wrap up in a bow that last little section that we were talking about, and I'm gonna call it the unlearn moment. And I take this from a brilliant writer, musician, Canadian, Humble the Poet, who has a series of books called Unlearn. And this is your unlearn moment.
Yeah.
You cannot put your trust in a system or in a corporation or in a business, because that is a non-existent entity. It is numbers on paper, whatever. You put your trust in other people.
Yes.
So if you're putting your trust in an expert in any field, trust the knowledge that they're passing on to you. And that's not to say blindly trust it, but they wouldn't be successful in their field if they weren't knowledgeable. So when it comes to, you know, we say like people distrust the system. Well, it's not about putting your trust in a system. It's not about putting your trust in a government body or anything like that per se, but it's put your trust in other people. And you know, you're trusting your read of those people.
Yeah, 100%. Like, and I don't distrust this whole new thing. I guess I do. I guess I just admit distrusting through the rest of our conversation, and I'm backpacking. But
no, but it's fair.
I think I'm cautious. I'm humbly cautious. If I have a first time home buyer, I'm going to tell them there's an option for you out there, and you should talk to this specific person about it.
Right.
Because I want them to know every little single thing they can about that specific thing, and I want them to have those options. So I'm happy it's out there. I'm happy for all options, especially like you know, they're loosening on business, people that own small businesses as well, which is awesome. Where was that when I had a cleaning business, guys? Wowzers. Like, there seems to be a real loosening with lenders, like even lenders. With that
there's well, actually the loosening again came from the CMHC with they used to require for insured mortgages, they required a 2-year history of business for self.
Man, that's so painful.
Now they're happy with a 1-year history or with a proven track record if you're in the same industry as what you came from. So for example, if you've been a long haul trucker all your life for some company and you decide to buy a truck and branch out on your own and be an independent long haul trucker.
We're talking to you, my nephew.
Oh, well, there you go. You're continuing on in the industry that you were already in, right? So it's kind of that proven track record thing.
Yeah, and I like that. Like when I had my cleaning business, man, that's when I first started applying for mortgages. It was so hard. It was brutal. Because as a business owner, you really for tax purposes, you really try to make it look like especially the first couple of years, you know, like your expenses and things like that, you know, and it's hard. And then to try to provide for your family and do better, like it's hard it was hard. Like now it's nice to know that they'll do it on a year, you know.
Well,
if you can.
So here's, and I've encountered this. I've had to have this conversation, this challenging conversation with a few people this year, whether they are in self-employed or in an industry where they make tips or things of that nature, right?
Yep.
Where some of their income is not reported on their T4.
Right.
Is the best way to put it.
Tips.
The way a lender looks at it is, if you didn't report it on your taxes, you didn't earn it. Because all that means is you have money that you're not paying taxes on. Right? And so they look at that and they say, okay, that's an audit risk.
Yeah, I guess so.
Right? So from a business standpoint, it's a little bit different. But it's one of those things where they're like, okay, well, if you didn't report it on your taxes as earnings, how do we know you actually made it?
Yeah, that was a hard one too when I was waitressing and bartending, because I did actually have a really good income.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't claim it because, I did claim it, but I didn't.
With write-offs.
With write-offs, but I had kids, so I had so much expenses, like dental and all that and whatever, baseball and all those things. But the thing is that you don't get to claim it on your EI.
Right.
So it's like one of those things like, okay, so I claim it, I pay you taxes on it, but I can't claim it on my EI.
Yeah. No, I hear that.
Like, and then like here I am, I'm having a baby and I can't claim that amount,
right.
Like, so it's a kind of a catch-22.
That's where they've started to come up with there's the stated income programs, which can be backed up by your bank statements that show how much money you deposited into your account and stuff like that.
And that comes from people that were bartenders and tried to apply for loans, and then they went to go work for CMA, they work for these places, and then they said, you know what? These people pay their bills. Like, you don't get good credit or good, you don't get good like income checks by collecting tips and paying your rent. Like, you don't. It's interesting. Like, so this is actually going to go into a little. Are you done with that? Are you good? Like, you're good with the whole.
What, my beer? I'm not done with it. It's good though.
Don't worry, I got a whole fridge full of my very own. It's an IPA wonderland in there. It's unbelievable, and some kind of vodka soda things for Becky. But the if you're done with that, I little bit want to lean on the renter side because it's not something I do very often. I'm going to touch on it just a little bit. I do want to talk about fall market. I do want to go back to that. And I want to talk about what I've seen in the last little while. I'm hot button about a rental because I'm working on rental today for someone. I don't do rental very often. I do rentals for landlords that I like. I have a real thorn in my paw from a landlord that I had that was horrible.
Sorry, when you say doing a rental, are you talking about finding an investment property or finding a tenant?
Finding a tenant. So we're going to talk about finding a rental for a tenant. When I only help landlords that I like. That I've worked with in the past with my cleaning company, or that I have personally rented from before. I have a real thorn in my paw from a landlord that I had that was absolutely horrible, and I lost a lot of things too. But it may have actually driven me to real estate because that's the type of person I am. I turn things around. But the right now, Canada. Telling you that guy. Finding a rental for somebody right now is unbelievably critical, and it feels impossible. Like, I only help people that I know find rentals. Like, these are people that I would say, I 100% vouch for this person. They will take care of the property. They are good people, So I can basically sign a letter saying I vouch for them 100%. But oftentimes what I run into is that pets issue.
Interesting.
The pets, like it's really hard. Like, I get it. I get that, like condos have rules. You can only certain so many. But man, I get hard nose about pets. Hard nose with landlords about pets. And here's the thing is that like I have people that are like so great. The people I help are like so awesome and loving pet owners. Some of them are trainers of pets and, things like that. But to find a rental specifically in Guelph that allows pets is a nightmare. It's a nightmare. And people are like, no, and I have the hard conversations. I'm all about the hard conversations. We will pay a damage deposit. We will sign something saying we will not acquire any other pets. We will sign something saying that we will clean carpets before we leave. Like, you can hold us accountable for those things. They're like, these are people that are looking to be homeowners, you know, like they want to treat your home as their home, you know, like they're not coming in there to like, and I'm not talking about just pulling anybody off the street and saying rent to them. They have 3 dogs and 10 cats. Like, I'm talking about, like, I have a small dog and a cat, you know, like, it's really hard. It's really hard out there. And I just kind of want to, like, I don't know. I needed to get that out of my body. I'm dealing with that today. And again, and I just, personally, me and like and most of the landlords I work with, they're like, people have pets. Let's, you know, if it's something crazy, like we have like 6 rabbits and 5 cats and 2 dogs, you might be like, no, we need to downsize that. You know, you're borrowing somebody else's property. Like, damage is a thing. Pets do damage. I have an Irish wolfhound. He does damage. Like, I love him and I'm a good pet owner. He still does damage.
He's massive.
He's massive. It's 140 pound, 6'5" dog. He's disgustingly huge.
He's like a large teenager.
He's a man size. Like, yeah, he's a large teenager. He's an oversized. He's like a lanky 17-year-old that hasn't quite reached his full potential yet. Yeah. But it's like, here's the thing. Here's the thing is that pets are like therapy to me, you know, like when I go home,
they're quite literally therapy for some people. And
quite literally, but like, my dog is not a registered therapy dog, but I could vouch for him 1,000,000%. When I come home, like, it makes me miss you. I come home, my dog stands up and he greets me, you know, like man, that's a good feeling. I go to get up from the kitchen and he stands up. He's a gentleman, you know, like, he stands up and he comes with me, mostly because I'm probably going to make him an egg, but it's fine. But that, like, my cat, she jumps on my chest and she lays there. And like, every time at bedtime, our new kitten and the new one, like, and my old cat, I have 2 cats, they get on my chest and I pet them, you know. I would miss it if it wasn't there. Like, it's part of the human nature to have pets. Like, if people are willing to pay the deposit and willing to be, here's the thing, in landlord tenant law, you legally cannot ask someone to not have a pet.
Right.
You actually cannot. It's in the new Ontario standard lease. You legally, unless the condo corp says that there's a restriction on size, things like that. There's some condo corps that don't allow dogs, but they can't say no to all pets. Like, they just can't. Like, it's in landlord tenant law, you can't, somebody could come and move in and bring a dog in 2 days later, and you couldn't legally have anything to do about it unless they sign something. Tenants don't sign anything that says that you will not acquire a pet. You don't know what's going to happen. Like, let's say mom gets sick, right? And someone needs to take her little dog for a month or something, you know, like, it's, unless you sign something saying that you will not bring a pet in the house, like a Schedule A that says, I promise to not, you know, I don't know. It's not right. I just needed to get that out of my body. I just really needed to say that out loud.
Okay.
It's not right. Guelph landlords, please take into account people, like, deal with people on an individual basis, meet the people, maybe offer to meet them or something. And I don't know. I'm working with some lovely people right now, and they just need a place to rent. And one lady's a dog trainer, for goodness sakes. Like, come on now. Anyways, that's my rant. That's my rant. Anyways, so the other thing I want to talk about is the fall market.
Okay.
So here is some things that I'm noticing as far as like sales go. You and I talked about our predictions late last year, right? And we're going to do that again in December, but our predictions for the 2020 market prediction day. I feel like we should have hats and like New Year's, like party poppers or something.
Should we have like the, you know how Johnny Carson used to have like the Swami hat?
Oh, yeah, and the crystal ball.
Yeah.
I may or may not have a crystal ball. to the surprise of no one.
I'm sorry.
We could also do a tarot card reading if you want to. So they may be in my car. The thing is that I think from what I remember, our predictions from late last year were that turning into a buyer's market in the Guelph area.
We've said on a few different occasions that the power is with the buyers.
Yeah, I believe in this town, unless the house is completely undervalued, that the power is with the buyers at this point. I'm gonna 100%. I'm 99% belief system. You see it, that 1%, like that 1% houses flying off the market. I don't think that's the case. There's much more discerning buyers out there. And I think that from what I've seen, there are houses just sitting on the market. Our days on market have like almost doubled since last year.
From what I'm seeing, there's 4 groups of people where this doesn't apply.
Okay.
All right. The 4 groups of people who don't recognize and believe it's a buyer's market.
Okay.
All right. Are
people selling their
the
houses.
Listing agents and their clients.
That's not me.
And the buying agents who want to convince their buyers that it's an ultra competitive market, and so they should waive all conditions and just go over asking.
Oh no, we need to talk about that too.
And their clients. So those are the 2 groups of people out there. Mm-hmm. And in both cases, the clients are being influenced by their agent's agenda. So
we need to talk about that.
Right. And so that's the reality.
Yeah.
Are there competitive markets where they're holding offers and multiple offers and all of that?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Does that mean you have to kowtow to what everybody else is doing and end up going in with no conditions or over asking and put yourself vulnerable in the situation? Absolutely not. So
that's what I was gonna say. Even in a multiple offer situation in this year, I see more times than not where things go conditional. There is a certain company that I will not name that is
who shall not be named.
Yes. There's a certain company, and it might be a company with a color in their name.
Yes.
Okay. I have listed houses all year. This has actually been a heavy listing year for me. And
does their name also contain building materials?
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Things you throw at people sometimes. You're angry at them in your punk rock years. Long story.
Yes.
But I had my personal experience, and I don't know, I've talked to other realtors, and a couple others have said that they've noticed the same thing. Firm offers, even on condo, like even on condo.
Without seeing the status certificate?
Yeah. Like above asking, not in competition, firm. 2 of my properties this year.
Wow.
Right? I'm gonna plug this in because
let's talk about the
wild though. Of that. That's so dangerous. Like that happened 2 times. Sorry, 2 times to me, and then 1 or maybe 2. I have to go back and look at my notes, but maybe 2 times I lost this year and asked who the winning agent was. It was from this group colored building material company. I'm just gonna plug this in. Jamie's on.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit on this because yes, I've had clients who, when working with their representation, are coming to me and they're saying, okay, can I go in with no condition of financing? And my answer to them is, I would never advise somebody to do that, but you can do whatever you want. You're the one taking the risk. So here is something I want to make sure people understand. There is a difference between satisfying conditions when it comes to a mortgage and satisfying conditions when it comes to a real estate offer. Mm-hmm. So when you make an offer on a property and you have conditions in there, it might be condition of inspection, it might be condition of financing,
status review,
all of that stuff. Generally, it's tied to a time frame, or condition of sale, like of selling my property,
Mhm.
right? There's times attached to deadlines in which those have to be completed by.
Mhm.
Okay. The difference between that and the conditions of a mortgage is when I take your application to a lender and get an approval, in the lender's mind, that's a mortgage that's happening.
Yes.
But in order for you to make it happen, you need to provide them with documentation to back up all the things that we said in the application.
Yes.
So job letter, pay stubs, what have you. Those conditions generally don't get satisfied in a short period of time. So you will not get to a status called broker complete before you have to waive that condition of financing. And the reason for that is because many lenders have a plethora of hundreds of mortgages that are closing before yours. Mm-hmm. And so they prioritize them, and they're looking, even if I submitted every document to them on day one, they're not going to look at it until, well, that one's not closing for 2 months. So we're going to take care of all these other ones first. Mm-hmm. So even though I'm hounding them every day or every second day saying, can you please review this? The chance of you actually getting to a broker complete status before you need to waive your condition of financing is almost non-existent. Mm-hmm. Okay. So when you're saying, well, is it going to be, what happens? What if we send in these documents and they're not good enough? Well, as long as the documents verify what you said, they're good enough. Right? Like the only reason you have to worry is if you didn't present accurate information during the application process.
Or if you go out and buy like a Ferrari and a boat.
Things like that. Yeah.
Fill up a credit card.
So when it comes to waiving that condition of financing, you will not be broker complete in all likelihood before you have to waive your condition of financing. Right. What it comes down to is, are you confident? And the professional you should be working with should provide you with a full list of documents up front saying these are the documents you're going to need.
Correct.
If you're comfortable being able to satisfy all of these conditions, by all means, go ahead and waive your condition of financing.
Yes, but
if you're looking for somebody else to tell you to do it so that you don't have to own the responsibility if something does go wrong, that's not going to happen.
So here's the thing, though, is that it's totally random because it's, again, the colored company with the building material.
Hey, that's a neat color octopus on that can.
So here's another thing too, is that that company does not advertise. It advertises on their website, but that person. So here's the thing: I don't get those listings. Just FYI, if you're planning on listing with that company, I don't get those.
The amount
listings.
of buyers you're going to be exposed to is reduced.
I don't get them. They don't go on our Guelph and District Association of Realtors. I have to have a TREB access. So I don't have TREB access yet. I'm working on that this year, but I have to go to my friend who has TREB access and say, hey, or I have to go to their website, find it, go to my friend and say, hey, can you send me that listing so I can send it to my friend? So I'm working on that.
For those who aren't familiar with acronyms, TREB is Toronto Real Estate Board. Because the brokerage is based out of the GTA, their listings automatically go on the Toronto Real Estate Board.
They're listed at a Hamilton.
Okay.
Hamilton, Stony Creek.
So their listings automatically go to they list on the Toronto Real Estate Board listings. So you don't necessarily get it. So
I don't get
KW Real Estate Board, Guelph Real Estate Board, all the outlier areas, when the agents in those areas wouldn't necessarily see
unless
the
they have
listings.
TREB access.
Yet the property may be in Guelph, Kitchener, Cambridge, whatever. Mm-hmm. It lists on the Toronto Real Estate Board.
Yeah, like so your house sold in 2 weeks or a week or whatever, but did it? Because it wasn't like none of us got it unless I basically look at that website every day. And so if they have a populated website, it's because realtors have to be on there looking at it because we don't have access to their listings, the ones in the local board. So, and people tell me, like my clients say to me, oh, no, what about this one? You didn't send me this one. And I'm like, well, good chance I know where it's from. Let me go back and have a look. Yep, look at there it is. And then I send it to them and then we go see it. It's fine. I'm happy to work with anyone. If you're selling your own home, and that's fine. That's your prerogative. Go for it. I mean, all the power to you. I'm happy to work with you. I just don't understand why you would pay money to somebody else to lie to you. Like it's false advertisement, in my opinion. Like if I have to take a strong stance on it, to go to their website, pull up the listing and have it say, this person paid to have their house listed in the Guelph area. Well, no, you didn't. You paid them, but your listing isn't. There's a sign on the lawn. It's listed, and the Hamilton board doesn't share with the rest of the boards. So that's you have to work for that. Like I work in Hamilton. I do work in Hamilton, but I have to do it in a roundabout way. Like I have to. It takes a lot of extra work. But anyways, I just don't. You're not getting the exposure. You're not getting, and then also on the buyer end, they don't pay. They're not paid in the same way. So when like I work on commission, right? If you buy, I might get paid. Like that's kind of basically how I like to describe it to people, is that like we could be shopping for a year together. You could take a break. You could whatever. You could go and buy your uncle's house and wherever, and I get paid maybe, but you tie with the commissions, you tie me to your motivation, and technically buyers don't pay me. What happens with this colored company of building materials? They only pay their realtors a flat fee. Like, so it's a flat fee. So they're not necessarily tied to your motivation. So they're not interested in covering you or seeing you through to the long haul. I'm interested in covering you. I'm interested in getting you that financing condition. I will go to bat for you about that status review. I will make sure that I have, Mike Healy, shout outs to Mike Healy, on retainer, basically being like, Mike, wait for my text message. I will have the building inspector ready to go, to get you that inspection, to get that offer accepted. And I'll use my reputation in town to get you it, it's, you're tying me to your motivation. And it didn't really cost you anything. But what I've noticed is, in my experience being a listing agent in town, is that this company, their representatives often bring me firm offers, even on condo, when there's no competition. Like, you should be out the yin yang, to use my mom's phrase. You're welcome. About the yin yang with conditions. My mom says out the yin yang. I don't know.
I've never really figured out where my yin yang is.
I don't know. I still don't know. She's never described it to me. I'm still new to this. But like I should see like no illegal substances were produced in this, like no murder suicides in the building, like no I want you to have your like everything, the chattels, even down to the chattels, like the fridge, the stove, the washer, the dryer, the dishwasher will be in good working order upon closing. None of that. Nothing. Clean as sweet, clean offers. As a listing agent, I'm like, you should sign this. You should have. I felt shaky the first time I got it. I was like, oh, this is awesome. It was a freehold house. I'm like, this is amazing. Go for it. Sign this. Mm-hmm. You're scot-free. With the condo, I was like, ooh. Like the second time it happened, I was like, oh God, no good. Like, because when you're buying a condo, you're buying into the condo corporation. You're paying into it. You want to know, do they have a reserve fund? Do they have any, like, did they even make a call to the condo corp? I have 4 condo corps to call tomorrow about I have to make notes about, because I have people putting offers in on condos. Like, because I want to know, I want to ask personally, do you have anything on your radar? Is there any money coming out of the reserve fund? What is the reserve fund? If you can let me know at this time. Has a status certificate been ordered by the, all of these things, I want you covered. They don't because it's basically a flat fee. They get paid a flat fee. The company that shall not be named gets the rest of it, and you're in the wind, basically. Anything could happen there. And I don't know, maybe I just take representation too seriously.
No, I think it's a very fair point, and we're seeing it more and more in my industry as well. So there's two factions. One, you're starting to see a lot more advertisements for online, doing your mortgage online.
Oh yeah, well, you and I have talked about this, and that is scary.
It is kind of scary because it's your mortgage. It's a $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 investment, and you're doing it online. And just blindly trusting whatever gets put in front of you. the thing is, when you work with a mortgage professional like myself, it doesn't cost you anything.
No.
Like if I find you a mortgage that you're happy with, the lender pays me. It's the same as you working with a buyer.
Yep.
Right? The buyer doesn't pay you anything.
No.
Well, it's the same with when we do your mortgage. You're not paying me anything in most cases. There are some rare circumstances where when we have to deal with like private mortgages or alternate lenders or things like that, then maybe. But for the most part, it costs you nothing. And I like to think my services are very convenient. So
I find you convenient.
Thank you. So I don't understand why you wouldn't want that when there's no difference in what you're paying. Now, what they try and sell you on, and there's two groups that do this. There's the online, and then there's what we call discount brokerages. They try and sell you on rate. And here's the danger of that. They buy down rate a little bit. So you might get a rate that's a 0.1% lower and think that you're saving a whole lot of money. The problem is, more often than not, these advertised discount brokerages are giving subpar service and putting you with lenders based on where they're making the most commission, not based on who has the best product for you. So, for example, I have a lender that I have used. I had a situation where a person who was with that lender wanted to move out of their current house, get a new home that was going to be about $75,000 more than their current mortgage. The lender would not let them port their mortgage. They had to pay the penalty to get out of their mortgage, even though they were redoing their mortgage with the same lender. They wanted to stay with the same lender. And they charged them a penalty for doing it. They charged them a penalty for increasing their mortgage and payments with them.
What?
And and I know tons of brokers out there who use this lender because they pay the highest commission. So yeah, exactly. I will not refer a client to them. It would be a very, very, very special set of circumstances. The client would have to say, what about X? And I would tell them the full scenarios, and if they still want to go with X, they can go with X. But I can't see how in good conscience I can recommend a lender like that, right? So you don't know who you're getting tied to in those scenarios with discount brokerages or with online. And it could be a lender like Lender X, in which case your mortgage, it doesn't matter if you're saving $15 a month by having a lower interest rate. You're paying a lot more for it in the long run.
Yeah.
And it's the same type of thing. The cost is there. You just don't realize it until it's too late.
Yeah. Like,
right?
I still get a little like, we have some closings coming up, and I'm just like, with that shall not be named, and I'm still fingers crossed about it. Like, I'm still like, something sits wrong in my stomach. Like, and again, maybe I'm just super cautious about, and I maybe give too much of a crap about people, but I feel nervous, but like firm, like without needing to be, and then I don't know, like, and like long irrevocable, like even just something minor like that, like, oh, I'll give you 2 days to think about it, firm offer. And no, I give you a firm offer, I'm giving you 3 hours to think about it. Like, I'm giving you a short amount of time to think about this firm offer, this firm, and over asking. It makes me want to sit down. Like, this poor kid I talked to on the phone, I was like, I mean, thank you. Like, and he was just like, oh God, I'm just so busy. And I was, I don't know if this is working for me, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, consider it a fucking career. Sorry, I did it. What time are we at? Oh, we're an hour in. I did it.
59 minutes.
I did it. I held up for as long as I could. I white knuckled it.
Yeah.
I did it. Oh man.
Well done.
I really try to not be that person, and here we are. But like I said to the kid, I was like, maybe consider career in real estate because like this whole, getting paid. I don't know. And I know it's hard for realtors to talk about commissions and stuff because commissions are big and people that, work hard get compensated hard, basically. But we also get taxed hard and we get it's exhausting. But the thing is that I'm tied to your motivation. I think that's the difference. I just from what, and that's just my experience. That's my experience. I don't know. Maybe the general public. I'm all about educating the public, like the general public, about real estate and their transaction because this is one of the biggest transactions that most people make. Like this is the most common large transaction that people make. But I find that the educational points of it are minor. Like there's no. I'm all about it. If anybody ever, and I'm not using, maybe I am a little bit potty, I'm gonna get up on my soapbox here, but if anybody ever wants to talk about real estate transactions, I am all about it. Like the veil of the process needs to come up and off, but like it's how I feel about for sale by owner is how many transactions in real estate do you do per year? I do this many. I work with buyers I do that many transactions, but I also talk to 100 buyers, 100 sellers, like in a year. I know what the temperature is. Why wouldn't you want to work with that instead of, here, can I just get this so I can move on? Can I just get this off my plate? Like, here. So what are they doing for the sale then?
Well,
that's what makes me nervous. Here's the sale end.
This is so that company that shall not be named, and I'll apply it to the same as the online mortgage or the discount mortgage brokerages. If somebody came to me and said, "Hey, what do you think of them?" My answer is typically, well, let me ask you something. If you could buy or sell real estate on Amazon, would you?
And I love Amazon.
But that's essentially what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how many people have had this experience. I just recently had an experience with Amazon. And I usually have good experiences with Amazon.
Yeah.
But I recently had an experience where I bought something from Amazon and then got a message from Amazon saying, hey, the vendor hasn't shipped your product yet. And then and since it's not coming from us, you can message them directly. I realized, hold on a second. I'm not buying this from Amazon. I'm buying it from somebody else who's selling it through Amazon.
Amazon's just a marketplace.
Right? Like
that's all it is.
So, and maybe I was naive for not realizing that sooner because I've always had good experiences, but it's that exact same thing. And that's essentially what they're offering. They are offering Amazon type service. And there's a time and a place where that is awesome because I use Amazon quite frequently.
Oh, yeah, I use it all the time.
It is not when you're talking about $500,000 purchases. And so that's
I just don't want to get to a point where that ratio, like even if it's in the future, like we talk about, like right now we're talking about this price point of houses, like 500,000 or whatever, like $500,000. Like I don't want to get to the point where talking about that kind of investment traded online.
Well, look, there's been other iterations of the same type of thing.
There's so many times where I've gone into a house, like my clients are like, this is the one, I know this is it. Like, and I'm like, okay, I went and saw it on viewing. You need to come and see this house and smell this house and walk through it. I'm telling you, it's not the one. Let me just pop your balloon.
There's been many iterations of the brokerage that shall not be named. Right?
Oh, it's always all the time.
Right? There have been these types of sell your property yourself through blanks. Mm-hmm. And there's a reason why they keep churning over and churning over and churning over. All it takes is 1 or 2 or 3 bad incidents and they'll happen. So
it is what it is. I'm all about people and empowering people in their choices. Like when I give a quote to people about what I think their house could sell for, I'm like, that's with marketing in this market. Like, I don't know, it could be different in 3 months. Like that's the way Guelph works. That's the way the real estate market works. It's season for season. Like, it's a little predictable, but I can't say for sure that this month is better than next month. I could say, generally speaking, September is a better month than August. August is horrible for selling houses, but August and December, it's awful. Well, but people are focused on other things. But I just don't like that, because that's the thing. That's the knowledge base that they're not going to tell you. That's not the conversation that they're going to say. Like, I'm going to say, why don't you just wait a month, take the month hit, because it's going to sit on the market anyways, and clean the place up, make the repairs, paint, have a furnace guy out, like, do that, and then we'll throw it up on September 3rd.
So it's you had touched on something about commission and
always talking about it.
Yeah. And there's I think there's a strong misconception about realtors in particular, but also in my industry somewhat.
Yeah.
Because what they don't see is the expenses involved and stuff like that. But I had an interesting realization the other day. So I went to get a Chromebook for my son.
I did that too.
So
look at us.
And Chromebooks $300-$400, whatever. Yeah. It probably took half hour, whatever. And I figured that the person who helped us, they're making $14-$15 an hour.
Yeah.
So for the half hour, that's the equivalent of, if you extrapolate, it's $30, right? Because or if they're making,
that's how they punch up.
Sorry, I did that backwards. $7.50. But if you figure out the percentage versus what they actually sold, the dollar value of what they actually sold, they make more money than we do.
But they do get taxes taken off.
So do we when we pay it at the end of the year.
Oh my God, yeah.
I'm just saying, like, if you take a look at somebody who works in a traditional retail sales role or what have you, their hourly wage that they make as a percentage of what they sell,
right,
is in line, if not higher, than people who are strictly commission based.
I like to tell people I've been training for this business my whole life and didn't know it, because I bartended my whole life and then had a cleaning business. So basically bartending is like, you show up, fingers crossed, guys. Like,
hopefully we're busy and
there's a band tonight, maybe it might happen, fingers crossed, and then you make $10, buy yourself a bunch of beers, you're down $20, and you go home, sleep it off, show up the next day, be like, fingers crossed, guys. But that's you just roll with it, right? And real estate's kind of the same thing, but it's at the end of the day, I've shopped with people. I've been shopping with some people. I have people on my radar that I've had on my radar, and we've been shopping on and off for like 3 years. So if I was really to add up the dollar value of my hours, like checking in, showing random houses, all those things, like if I worked it out, it would be probably disappointing.
I don't want any
but
of
it's
these.
fun, and I love running into those people. So
well, that's just it. I don't want any of these comments to be taken as, "Oh, poor us," or
no.
We love what we do.
No, I love what I do. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't rewarding financially, for sure. Like, I'm not in this business to not be financially rewarded, for sure. Nobody goes to work every day thinking, I don't care if I'm, like it's you want to get compensated, but at the same time, like I definitely love my job.
So our combined industries, I'm gonna lump both industries together in one, because it is the only place that off the top of my head I can think of where you truly earn your value. And it is there's no difference in compensation if you're male, female, if you're young, if you're old. If it's the one place where people earn what they are valued. Like, people make truly what they're valued at. So right?
I actually heard in real estate, I heard like there's a couple circles that this is like one of the industries where women actually do really well. Like
Yeah.
women in this business do really well.
But you don't, it's not like a successful female realtor only makes 2% commission and a successful male realtor makes 2.5%.
Really,
right?
It comes down to personality and dedication to your job. Like the other thing about real estate is that I get up every morning. My first thoughts are like, where am I at today? Like my calendar comes up right away. That's how I roll. You need a moment? I do not.
So
I don't require
no. So last night, Dobby woke me up at 3:30 in the morning, scratching on the door. I'm thinking, okay, he has to go out. No, he just wanted to make sure everybody else in the house was still there. Turned around, jumped back up on the bed in my spot, right at the pillow. So I'm like, okay. So I tried, snuggling with him a little bit. No, he didn't want to share the bed with me. And immediately my brain is starting to work on work.
Oh yeah, no, that's how my brain works.
And I was this close to getting up at 4 a.m. and just going downstairs and starting to work.
Getting a head start. Get a head start. Yeah, and I think about it too.
But I realized by 3 o'clock, no amount of coffee throughout the day would have helped.
Right? Like, so my daughter Dorothy is the worst sleeper. She's the cutest. She's the sweetest. But she has been. I have 5 kids, and she is the worst sleeper I have ever had. Like I got lucky with all of my kids, heavy sleepers, early sleepers, all those things. I literally got my real estate license on her sleep pattern. Like I would study while she was up because she would wake up, put her to bed, she'd wake up automatically 12 o'clock, up. She was up until like a year ago, and she's 5.
Yeah.
Like up until a year ago, she would be up like 4 times in the night. Mm-hmm. Like she'd sleep for like an hour and a half, up for an hour, sleep for an hour and a half, up for an hour. I literally got my real estate license studying while she was awake watching Monsters Inc. Like that was our rhythm. But she's still now, she's fine, but she wakes up, I would say like 4 a.m. 4 a.m. is her time. And if she's fussy, like just not settled enough or whatever.
Send her over to hang out with Dobby because the two of them
we should pair these guys up.
Really?
Manny is like passed out on the floor, and he only sleeps on my side of the bed. Well, and Kevin's lovely. He walks him more than I do, but he literally lays on the floor on my side of the bed, and I like have to step over, like lunge over him, and then go and get Dottie, and then I bring Dottie into bed with me, and she'll roll around and fuss and like touch my hair and touch my face and all those things, and the whole time I'm like, I wonder if they emailed.
Yeah,
like that's how my brain works.
But it's like I know. See, and you're, because with Dobby being a dog, I take him out for his walk. I like, okay, Dobby, 8 o'clock, let's go for your walk. And he's like, but I'm sleeping. I'm like, yeah, it must be nice. Let's go.
I've been up hogging your pillow.
Yeah,
I don't know if you remember our lifestyle.
Yeah,
kids and dogs, man, they're the best.
Yeah,
dogs, we don't deserve them. My dog is like. He's an angel. He's an angel face boy.
So we've got a new one coming to join
Stop! This is new news.
Yeah.
This is new news.
It won't be until probably January, February. Another whippet. Yeah, a puppy for Dobby.
I got a kitten. That's something that's new. Got a kitten.
So we're gonna have a.
That's exciting.
It is exciting.
Oh my god. Whippets are so cute. I saw one at the pet store the other day. It was one of the workers had her whippet with her. My God, so cute. I know Rebecca Walker is in the market for a Frenchie. I'm just going to put that out there. If anybody has a Frenchie, that girl needs a Frenchie in her life. Please let me know.
Can we maybe rephrase that so Rebecca doesn't get hit up with all kinds of weird instant messages?
No, yeah, probably. I mean. French bulldog. No, you're right. You're right.
Wow, I'm going I'm gonna be the same. I'm gonna look like the octopus in a second. That's
no, me. I'm like dogs. Let's talk about dogs. Poor Jamie. You're sweet.
Hello, Claudia. Thanks for joining.
No, like, yeah, I got my dog a kitten, and this was
Nice.
the best thing I could have ever done for him.
So, what do we anticipate quickly? We're going to sub up, but quickly, what do we anticipate going forward?
So right now, September. So Guelph, Fergus, Elora was primarily where I work, and surrounding areas. September, October, mid-November. Like those are prime like selling times right now.
Mm-hmm.
But most right now, like to recap, right now the people selling are people that generally have to sell for one reason or another. They're rarely do we get people testing the market. The springtime is like sellers testing the market to see how much their place could sell for. There's a flood of buyers at that time. Everybody's saving it for after Christmas, you know? And then all of a sudden, like Guelph, it's like January, February, investors. And all of a sudden, you know, people come out of their caves and they're searching. Fall is like, I have to sell for one reason or another, and there's less buyers. So if you're a buyer and you're considering the Guelph market, we need to talk. There's so many great properties on the market right now that just like ping, 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 ping.
So sorry.
Space Invaders.
So I can tell you I have a plethora of pre-approvals in my hopper, which means people are out there shopping.
People are shopping.
Right?
And I do have people, we have similar shared people that are shopping.
So there's that. And then on top of that, you say that, you know, this becomes a time where people only sell because they have to around the
so
tail
for one
end of the
reason
year.
or another.
Yeah.
A lot of estates this time of year.
Estates. The other one is I view Labor Day as more of a New Year's than New Year's. And I think a lot of people
right.
do. I think a lot of people look at it and they view the back to school as the new year. Mm-hmm. Part of that, and while I don't have exact statistical data to back this up, you tend to see a lot of conversations leading into the holidays of separations, things like that, which it leads into your talk of
hard
need.
Conversations.
So that kind of happens. There's lots of property. The other thing is the unpredictability is new builds, which you think might close in the summer but get pushed back. So there's all kinds of things like that.
There's a lot of release of new builds too. So a lot of builders this time of year start talking about what their builds are for the next year, if it's bulk builds. And another thing that I know we're kind of running on time here is one-off builds. That seems to happen a lot this time of year.
Yes.
Like people like.
So you get a smaller builder who buys up 2 or 3 lots and then just builds
or buys a lot and starts building and then puts plans out and says like that happens a lot this time of year. So if you're a buyer and you kind of made it through the spring, you didn't see anything, we see it very routine. Like people start talking about it over Christmas. You start getting tired of the place you're living in. I like to kind of flip the conversation for people and say, let's do that in the summer. While you're, cottaging, while you're vacationing, let's have that conversation in the summer and come back to the fall ready to sell and ready to buy, or ready to buy, especially if you're a first-time home buyer.
Yeah, this is the opportunity time.
Right now.
Because
right now.
There are, first off, you just got through all the people who wanted to move before the school year started. Like the people who wanted to make that move so the kids were settled for the school year.
Kids are adaptable.
Right, yeah, just so you know. I think the whole aspect of, it's slow in the winter and things like that, I don't think that's a thing anymore.
It's becoming gray. I'm busy all year. December, so my first part of my career, it was December, crickets. Beginning of end of mid-November, all of December, crickets, nothing. Now it's I'm busy up until mid-December. Last year I was working up until the last 2 weeks of December.
But I'm already talking to clients about next year. I had a conversation with a client who said, look, sellers, I want to get my pre-approval because we signed a lease that expires in February, and so we're starting our shopping.
Right now, a lot of the, like as a listing agent, a lot of the conversation I have with sellers are, do you really want to wait until spring, or do you want to put it up in the fall and just get it done? Like, do you want to just get it done? Like, because I find the buyers in the fall are far more motivated, because I feel like in the spring, there's people just kind of, it's a flood of buyers and there's a flood of sellers, but that flood comes with like a ratio, like a big group of people that are just trying it out. Like, I just want to see what I can get for my house.
Yeah, I heard the best mindset.
Or I want to see if I can get, and then there's people being like, I'm tired of our apartment, or I'm tired of this. I want to come in, and then they start like throwing. Right now, like if you waited it out, now's the time. Do it now.
I think last year during the holiday season, I probably heard the best conversation between a couple that I was helping.
Was it Ken and I?
No. You guys are beyond help. Zing. And they were talking about move, and the one said to the other, do we really want to be moving like 2 weeks before Christmas? And the other person said, yes, because it's the best way to guarantee we won't have to host it.
Yeah, yeah, I like that.
Yes, you have the built-in excuse to not have to host it. So, there's always a positive there.
There's always a positive, and it's one Christmas, guys. It's one Christmas out of many Christmases that you're going to be spending in your home, hopefully, but honestly, you move, you can get it sorted out and you can move and you get a great price. And then the beauty of buying in the fall, we bought our house August 11th is our house anniversary, is what I call them. Mm-hmm. The beauty of buying that then is when the spring market came, I saw instant equity. Yep. I saw houses selling in my neighborhood, and I was like, Beacons, we're up 50 grand, it's amazing.
So it's a great time.
It's a great time. It's not like flooded buyers time. Like the springtime is unpredictable, I feel like. Whereas the fall, it's no, you list it for market value. We know how much all the houses were selling for earlier this year. Listed at this price, sell. Whereas the spring is
But there was really no summer slowdown this year, and with the new incentives kicking in September, that could
change
make
things.
For a busy market. Who knows?
It could change things.
So, best thing, get informed, get your ducks in a row. Reach out to your mortgage professional or mortgage Jedi. Talk to your real estate professional, and make sure that you get your ducks lined up and start the ball rolling. The people who are going to win the house that they want, the people who are going to, when they talk about multiple situations and stuff like that, are the people who have the best game plan. Right? Man. Because it's not, you didn't lose out on a house if they wanted you to go 20,000 more than what you were willing to go.
Yeah,
you didn't lose out on that, right?
No,
so
no loss there. It just was not. It was not in the wheelhouse. This is and I like to tell my buyers, this is a business transaction.
So we should wrap up, and we'll chat with everybody again in October. Absolutely. Please send us your ideas for what we should name these Facebook Live things that we do. Yeah, we're gonna have to
really brainstorm on this.
And if we want to have some fun, we are doing a Halloween thing. So costume ideas. I'd love to hear some costume ideas.
No, that's the thing.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be opposed to a 4-person like me, you, Janet, Ken, doing costume ideas. I get Kylo Ren though when that happens.
I have a feeling I'll end up as Jar Jar Binks in that scene.
No, we'll tell you we're doing Harry Potter and we'll get you to dress as Dobby or something like that.
I did Harry Potter last year. I was Hagrid last year.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
I did Harry Potter last year.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. I can't wait to share with everyone. By next one, we'll know. And it'll be for charity. And I can't wait. I love Halloween. I just cannot wait.
Obvious lead right now for Janet and I is to do Wednesday Addams and Uncle Fester. That's such an obvious when you see the two of us. But
Ken and I went as Thundercats one time to a Halloween party.
Oh, wow.
It was awesome because I'm really good at makeup.
Yeah, but he's got the physique of a Thundercat, so that's unfair.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So
it's good times.
All right. Enjoy, everybody, and we'll chat soon.
Yeah, we will. Thank you for joining us.